What's up, everybody? This is Jason, Zombie Collector, and you know what? It's been a while since I've done, at least it feels like it's been a while since I've done kind of a live stream, just some reflections, some thoughts, and thought I'd go live for a bit. I don't know if it's going to be overtly super long, but just thought I'd talk a little bit about a new experience I had. I had never had this before. It was exciting, yet kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's exciting, yet a little bit surprising, but maybe in the current state of affairs, not so much. And kind of opened up a Pandora's box because it was like, wow, I can do this. I can do it. I didn't think I could. Thought I was gonna have difficulty in doing it because it's something I've never really done before. So I was kind of surprised. Man, people always this is my presence, Larry, brings the dislikes out. But I honestly don't care. Like I think it's hilarious at this point that people still dislike the video. Like I'm not like other people in the community who somehow dislikes hurt their feelings or they get butt hurt. Like I could care less. I actually encourage people to give me dislikes. But you know what? That just brings more traffic to my channel. That's fine because it's all about the likes, the dislikes, the subs. It's all about getting YouTube famous, YouTube rich, or whatever. But I wanted to address one topic that I had a couple of people mention, and I don't, I I didn't think I was going to address it, but I was like, yeah, I'll address it just because I think people thought they got me. They thought they got me. They're like, ooh, burn, sick burn. I got a sick burn on you, Pain, and not really, not actually at all. So I wanted to tell them about a sick burn they thought they had, and I thought I would just leave this up here. So if anybody wanted to try to reference this at a later date, they have this out there. So when I did my walk away from baseball video, I had a comment, and I actually forgot about it. They were like, "Oh, it's hilarious that you did a video condemning baseball, but you're wearing a baseball hat." And I actually and I had totally forgot about that comment. But then somebody made another comment recently. They went back and I guess watched the video, and they made the same comment. They thought it was amusing, but there's a reason behind it. One, I'm not going to go and burn and throw away my shirts and hats and anything else I have because I don't like baseball. I don't watch baseball anymore. If you want to burn and throw away the stuff that people have bought you over the years, you spent your money on, you go right on ahead and use burn it or whatever. Like I know there's like people who do stuff like that. That's not me. This hat in particular, my son bought me, so I'm definitely not gonna not wear something that my son bought for me just so I can prove a point. Like you prove your point by your actions, not by what you're wearing. And this is like this hat I've had this hat for a decade now. I don't know, 8 years, 6 years. I've had other hats and shirts. I'm wearing this World Series or World Baseball Classic shirt. I'm not gonna throw my clothes away. I'm not gonna throw my hat away to prove what point that I no longer watch baseball anymore. Like that's done by me not spending my money and using my viewership or whatnot. The other thing is that it proves that I'm a fan. It's not like I was just playing lip service and then go, well, I never really watched it anyway. So what's the big loss? It's like, no, I was completely committed to the game of baseball, buying the merch, buying the cards, buying the tickets, watching the games, supporting my team, and then they turn their back on their fans. So it goes back to saying like, well, no, I committed to being a fan of the game, and I was buying stuff. How many people are like, oh man, I'm so disappointed or frustrated with the decisions these companies make, and they don't spend any money with the companies. So that doesn't hurt the company at all. It doesn't affect them at all because guess what? You never spend a penny with them, so you walking away does do nothing for them. It doesn't hurt their bottom line at all. By me taking my few $100, couple $1,000, maybe not 1,000, but maybe hundreds to $1,000 a year that I spend on baseball products, at least 1,000. If you include baseball cards, probably way more now that I think about it. But tickets, merchandise, viewership, of course, buying, cable services, baseball cards, whatever. That's a lot of money that starts adding up. And so, I wanted to address that because I thought people were like, "Ooh, sick burn. Ooh, you're such a, you're a clown for wearing a Major League Baseball hat, though you're condemning it." It's like, what planet are you from? It's like, of course I'm still gonna wear my hat. Of course I'm still gonna wear a shirt. It's like it doesn't change the way I feel about anything. It's not like I went yesterday and spent my money yesterday. This was like years ago or whatnot. So I just thought I'd just share that. People can like or dislike or whatever. But I just kind of want to be like, don't be clowns. Like if you want to go and burn something, you go burn some at your house. You want somebody gave you a gift, and if you want to burn it because you're trying to make a point, you go ahead and do that. That's your right. Knock yourself out. Go get yourself a kerosene and some matches, and you go to town and burn whatever you got to burn to prove your point. That's just not my style. So it's just like I'm still gonna wear a hat or a shirt on my videos, and it's not like people are like, oh, what an idiot. It's like, well, yeah, I'm an idiot, but not for that very reason necessarily. So I wanted to just address that. I'm moving on. The next thing I thought, the main reason I did this video was because I thought something I thought I never would do. And, oh, geez. Yeah, no kidding. Well, we're heading that direction, Larry. If you look around, I mean, it's already happening. Digitally, we are doing that to books right now, digitally. And also, I guess, physically making books disappear. I mean, it's not as dramatic as a book burning, but it's exactly the same thing. It's making books disappear that you don't want people to read, and it hurts your feelings or possibly could incite people to read for themselves and learn for themselves. Oh, yeah, movies, TV shows, 100%, 100%. Or as the Japanese would say, haku placento, gashimasu. I mean, yes, and that is 100% true. I mean, it's happening right now with WWE. They got sold to Peacock, or the WWE network sold to Peacock, and they spent the better part of the last, I don't know, couple weeks to a month now, like scrubbing all of inappropriate content from the WWE network, so it can be to their delicate sensibilities. I know I've talked about this before on, I think, Car Cutter's channel with Mike and him doing their wrestling podcast video or whatnot, but it is 100% true. You're the Book of Eli, dude. Apparently going to be blind and be able to read the Bible. That's what's going to be left, because that's not going to be the only option that you have. So, I think that's the biggest thing, is that it really is true. Censorship's a real thing. And I remember when I first heard about censorship in like modern times was when in my early 20s, because I mean, we always knew about censorship, from in the olden days. I think it would never happen in America, never reach our shores. But I remember hearing about it when I was really got into horror movies, or I should say horror films. And in England in the 80s and in the 90s, and I don't think it happens as much anymore, and I could be wrong, they had a video nasties. And any movie the government deemed inappropriate was not allowed into the country. So of course there's bootlegs and other ways around it, but it wasn't readily available. It wasn't sold at your local Piggly Wiggly, or the equivalent to it in England. And so they were unable to watch things like Evil Dead and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Friday the 13th and, fill in the blank horror movie. They were unable to procure those films. Yeah, New Jack would never make it on the Peacock. You're exactly right, Larry. New Jack, just his presence would be offensive, I'm sure. He wouldn't even have to open his mouth barely, and would be like, okay, that guy, whatever he is in something, we're having to remove that whole scene. But that stuff was happening in England for decades, maybe longer. And again, I don't know the entirety of it, but that was the first time I ever heard about it. And I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I don't live in a country like that. And that was just 15 years ago, 18 years ago, when I was in my mid-20s, probably when I first heard it. And here we are in 2021, literally making books disappear down the memory hole, TV shows, movies, everything's just disappearing. And I mean, if they could, they would round up everything that's the physical movies, TV shows, books that that they're trying to make disappear digitally, and they would do that. I mean, there's so many people who have bought into the idea now that if you make it disappear, it never existed because everything has went to so much has went to digital. That they think they can make it disappear, and so many people don't care about physical anything. Especially, I would say anybody under the age of 30 probably at this point very rarely has physical anything, CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, books, whatever. They're not going to have stuff like that. So it is easy to make a lot of stuff disappear because one, if you don't know it ever existed, it doesn't. And two, most people are not going to be encouraged or care to look for it. So if they don't know it existed, that's no big deal. And if they find out there's a book out there, or a CD or movie or whatever that has been censored or has kind of disappeared, or they've cut stuff out or neutered it or whatever, that's weird. But how many of those people are going to actually go and do the research and track it down? Very few. And even if they did, how many of those people are going to be able to find it? Nowhere to look. You know what I'm saying? It's like literally going to become more and more difficult. And I mean, I would not be surprised, like I'm saying, like if they could find a way to track down physical media. I know like eBay and places, they're not even letting you sell some certain items on eBay because it goes against their community standards or whatever. So you can't even sell it on eBay anymore because they don't want to be considered like they're making money off of supposedly terrible things or whatever whatever is perceived as inappropriate. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is ridiculous, man. Yeah, well, don't worry about golf. It's eventually going to disappear, I'm sure. I don't know what's on. I don't. Honestly, guys, they could call me. They could never show how many percent be like that. That's true. Henry, just say that's a good question. I will address that to the community because I know that's a burning question. I have asked a handful of my friends. They're still my friends, but I was in group text with a handful of people, a couple of different group texts and things. But I asked to be removed or like them start another group text without me in there because I have no interest in it. So I don't have any interest in that world anymore. I honestly don't. So when I did that video however long ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I don't even know, I lost track. I really meant it. Like I have no desire to watch baseball, collect baseball cards, nothing. I don't want to go. I don't want to go down that road again. But the short of it is that I asked respectfully just to remove me from any of these groups or start a new group without me in them. And everybody's taking me up on the request, which I appreciate. I just don't have any interest, so I really don't know what's going on with anybody. No one's reached out to me really. I will say Mike Hitman 23 was really cool. He reached out to me today to check in on me and to see how things were going. Bob and I talk on a pretty regular basis. But I mean, honestly, I can't really say anybody else. And I'm not trying to throw shade or anything. But again, I said this in my original video. It's totally fine. The thing that brought me with other people in this community was the love of collecting baseball cards and watching sports. And if I'm not interested in doing that, then a lot of it, what do we have to talk about? And I understand because some of our relationships and friendships were, on a very superficial, like, we kind of talked about family a little bit or whatnot. But a lot of times we're talking about, the community or the cards. And so I totally understand. And it's no ill will that there might not be as much to talk about. And that's fine. And also it's on me that I haven't reached out to many people, quite frankly. And that's totally fine. I take responsibility of that as myself. So, I'm not at all means like, woe is me. Not at all. I'm totally 100% understand the situation. And, it is what it is. And then kind of the same thing happened about a year ago, I guess now, or close to a year ago when I left when the whole fiasco started with, the Major League Baseball started getting woke in the first couple of weeks of the season, I guess in June or July or whatever, and started getting ridiculous and all that. I was like, oh, here we go again. And, I thought maybe we got past it. We didn't. And here we are. So it is what it is. But one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this, have this conversation was because, I did something I didn't think I ever would do. And if you've been a friend or a enemy, a frenemy of my channel, you've been a observer, a quiet supporter of my channel, you will have known that I have always had a super big aversion to selling baseball or cards, but especially baseball cards, because I was such a collector. Because I'm a hobbyist, I guess is the right word. It's been a hobby. It's not a business. I never treat it as a business. I never treat it as a source of income. I never treat it as a type of stock market. I didn't try it as a flipper, as a prospector. It was truly just a hobby. I didn't make money. I didn't make money selling cards to buy cards. I was always using my own income that I did through work or through maybe selling like other things that I had. And I never really sold my cards before. I also sell monster boxes full of like common cards and like overstock. Yeah, sure. But I never sold like cards that I actually had any true, real, like, I guess, connection to. But that changed yesterday, and I want to tell that because it's an interesting story. So I had a monster box for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and I always started at a pretty high price. And then like you get 7 weeks to sell it on Facebook Marketplace before they take it down. And every week you can update it and refresh it and put it back in the front top of the post or whatever to kind of get new eyes on it, and you could drop the price or edit it or whatever. So I usually start out at $50 for a monster box, and that gives me an opportunity to drop it down to about 25 before it's all said and done. Like every 2 weeks I drop it $5 or so. And then people start seeing it at 50, and they'll see 45, and they'll see 40. Like, oh, okay, that's a good deal. And I put pictures of the stuff that's in the box and so on and so forth. And so I had a guy here locally reach out to me who was interested in the box of cards, and we talked. And then he was like, but I also collect other players. I went, well, who do you collect? I might be interested. I could maybe look into something and maybe sell something to you. And like I said, I used to say that, and then like people would ask me, and I'm like, I just can't get rid of my cards. But that was before. That was before all this other shiznit happened with the baseball world or whatnot. So when he said, he goes, I collect Griffey and I collect Harper. I'm like, well, you came to the right place because I'm a Griffey collector, and I've had a ton of Bryce Harper cards just because I opened packs over the years and care packages. I'm sure people send me some stuff once in a while or whatever, and I've had Harpers, just because of that stuff. And so I had maybe, I don't know, 20 or 30-ish of, because Griffey, it was all my doubles or triples I didn't need or one I already had. And then I had Harpers. I had no connection to the Harpers. I had no connection really. But in the past I would never have sold any of my cards. Never would even cross my mind. I'd be like, yeah, dude, I'm a collector, so I'll get rid of this monster box for $35, $40 if that's what you want. But I'm not selling individual cards. I'm not going to do like that kind of thing. But he was like, I put up a lot of cards. And he goes, well, what do you have? And I posted some pictures. And I sent him my 3 or 4 pictures. Like I said, it was probably basically, $1 a card. And there was there was probably a third of it was just base cards, nothing special. And then the rest of it was probably, inserts, but like low-end inserts. Now I looked them all up on eBay just because I didn't want to like screw myself too much. Like just, I just want to make sure I wasn't dropping in some like super short print, whatever. And it's like $80 card or whatever without knowing. And so I looked through some of the cards, and I was like, I'll do this little stack of cards for $40. And I thought he would say no, because I'm like, that's still a little bit high, because like I said, he's paying $40 for a lot of inserts and low-end insert cards. Like a lot of base cards, a lot of low-end insert cards. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. Let's do this thing. So I was like, wow, okay. And it was the first time I was like sold cards that were out of my collection that wasn't like, just overflow and like comments and just junk cards I didn't want. And so I was like now on the spot to actually go through and do the actual sell. And I know for a lot of people this is no big deal, like they do it all day long. But for me as a hobbyist, and me who love the game of baseball so much and baseball cards in general, I mean, it honestly was kind of a big step, to be quite frank. And so I ended up going to the story quickly. The story was, so I was heading to this guy's house, and on the way there, a giant red fox ran out in front of my car, and I was like, man, I don't know if that's a good omen or a bad omen, but that was unusual to have a red fox full on just dash out in front of my car. And so then the guy told me to meet him at his storage unit, which I was like, man, I hope I don't end up in the storage unit in some box or something. So I was a little bit hesitant just because you just never know, man. You just never know. I mean, you know, I'm a delicate snowflake. You know, I'm like a wafy little guy, little wallflower. You know, I'm easily be taken advantage of by some mean man that could do me harm. So I was a little bit nervous. No, I wasn't a little bit nervous. I was a little bit leery of just meeting somebody quasi at dark at his supposed storage unit. But I ended up going there because I was like, oh, whatever, you know. I gotta get these $40, man. I gotta get these $40. Um, and uh, so he was like, hey man, I can't make it there. Can you meet me at my house? And I was like, dude, now we're going to your house. And the guy lived a little bit off the beaten path, not super far, but he wasn't like in town or in a city. You know, you had to go to a couple of streets, you had to turn a right and then left and a right and a left. So it's a little bit of back there. It's a little bit of a maze. And I was like, yeah, man, I'll do it, dude. I'll drive. It was only a mile away from where I was already at. So like, sure, I'm already over here. Let's do it. So I went ahead and drove out there and showed him the cards. Showed him the cards, and he was happy to take them, and he gave me the money. And it was just. I thought I would feel some sort of, I don't know. I guess I felt maybe like a sort of a feeling of loss, or maybe like I don't know if confusion is the right word, but I felt like maybe like a conflict. That's the word I'm looking for. I felt like I would have a sense of conflict for what had happened. And, you know, honestly, you know, sorry, I'm just trying to. Um, I didn't. I felt fine about it. I sold the cards, felt fine. I was good with it. And that's when I had this kind of epiphany like, I might have just broken the seal right there. That might have opened up the floodgates because before I wouldn't even considered selling the cards. And even though they weren't anything really special to me per se, again, I would have done that. I mean, even when I did like care packages, I always send things to people that I thought would really appreciate it. You know, because I don't want to send stuff to people that either don't want or don't need. So I kind of try to get a feel for what they're into and try to I make a care package that was hopefully something they can appreciate. You know, and so because I didn't want to throw those cards in there and then they didn't care about them, and I had more connection to them anyways. So I always was very mindful of that. But it was a very interesting experience for me because it was something I'd never really done before. It was, I mean, we're talking about $40 for a couple handful of cards, but guess what? That something that I was kind of scared of in the past and had mixed feelings for. I'm like, all right, well, I guess that's what it feels like. I can do this. So, yeah, I understand, Larry. A lot of people, I definitely understand, like, for other people, like I said at the beginning of the conversation, like, people been doing, a lot of people, that's no big deal for them. They treat it completely as like a business or a way to make money. Now we have, and all that stuff. And so for them, it's like, dude, like you said, I was doing this back in second grade or whatever, and it's like, I made 15 sales just today. I know people are like that, and that's totally understandable, but before I'd never really done that. And so, it was very interesting for me, but it also has taught me or opened my eyes, I guess, to the fact that, um, it can be done. I'm able to do it, and I'm able not to feel like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like I'm able to do it without feeling like a loss or out of I would never have a regret or anything. So I've already have a situation worked out with that guy to look into more cards. I have a handful of football and basketball cards. That's not anything special. He was definitely interested in and some more baseball cards. So, he made it sound like he was definitely interested in like, maybe working out some sort of, um, follow up visit where he can go through the cards. I'm gonna obviously still be there, so I'm not gonna just drop my cards off and be like, all right, man, let me know what you think. Like, I mean, I know enough to be dangerous when it's football and basketball, but especially with baseball. But I was like, let me know. We'll talk it over, and then you can get with me what you think. So, sorry, I ate some Mexican food today, and all of a sudden, like, the pieces of chips or something in my mouth, like you're like, bro, like floating around. I apologize. It's not very appealing. I understand that, so I'm trying to be somewhat mindful of me. That's not opening my big flapping mouth and be like digging around in my teeth or whatever. So I do apologize. That's not what anybody came here for. But yeah, so anyway, so I got everything worked out with this gentleman here to kind of see where things transpire over the next few maybe days or weeks or whatnot, and maybe I will start selling a lot of my collection that is a little bit less important to me, and then at that point I'll be just down to the things I actually care about, and then what that looks like. You know, selling on eBay, is that what I want to do? Doing the yeah, Taco Tuesday, baby, you got that right. Or do I sell them like on Facebook Marketplace and just sell things in a big lot? Because people there tend to be a lot more. I mean, obviously you cut out the middleman, you cut out like eBay and all their fees. You don't have to worry about people complaining later, like, oh well, that car didn't come the way it's supposed to, and all that kind of stuff, because you just know that's the world, or that car never got to my house or whatever. So so I'm thinking about maybe doing that. So I got some ideas. We'll see, but I am looking to start moving stuff on. So it's a nice little PSA for you all to know that I'm it's possible. I'm able to do it. I'm able to start selling and not feeling like it's going to overtly like traumatize me, or that I can't do it, or I might have like seller's remorse or whatever. But it's like, oh well, it can be done, and I think I'll be okay with it. So it was just something I thought I'd share, and and like I said, just throw it out there. Some people might enjoy it, some people might not. Really won't care, and but I just put it out there in the interwebs for people to give their 2 cents. So leave comments. Let me know what you think. What's your thoughts? I mean, on the entirety of the video. I'm interested to hear what people have to say. And I thank you all for taking the time out of your busy evening to watch me just kind of meander through a live stream. But hopefully you all got something out of it. And until next time, peace.